Hi there. We're going to be making a different type of fire starter today. It's something I've seen on YouTube with various different recipes, and I've never tried it. So I thought we'd give it a shot today and see how they turn out compared to my old favorite. What we're going to need is a pan that we don't mind getting absolutely filthy. This one's a sacrificial one I picked up at a dollar store, as well as this cookie sheet. They live outside and are only used for projects like this. We're going to melt some petroleum jelly, Vaseline, in the pan and soak these cotton makeup remover pads in the Vaseline and take them out and then melt Gulf wax, paraffin wax, in the pan and re-dip these to seal them. And the theory is, well, I've seen it work on other people's channels. You tear open one of the finished Vaseline impregnated and wax coated rounds. You tear it open to expose the fibers, and then it will catch a tiny spark or a tiny flame and burn for a long time. And it would use up a lot less volume than my current favorite. So we're going to give it a shot. I will miss the cedar smell though. So first we're going to take our petroleum jelly and spoon it into our pot. I certainly imagine you could do this with a pot that you're going to reuse again and again, but I wouldn't want to clean that up. I'm going to try to do 100 of these today, so I'm going to use a significant amount of the petroleum jelly. I think we'll go with half of it. The other people I've seen doing this tend to dip them one by one and lay them out to dry. I'm going to try and be lazy and put the entire set in and let them soak and then pull them out, and then reuse the pan for the paraffin wax. So we'll see what happens. It's a learning adventure. Turn up the heat. Again, this is an old barbecue grill. Great for these types of projects. I love the sidecar burner on this grill because it really pumps out a lot of heat fast, even when you're outside. Absolutely fantastic for reseasoning a cast iron pan or something that's going to generate a lot of smoke. Wonder if that's going to be enough petroleum jelly. Before I put the cotton pads in, I'm going to cut the heat off as soon as this is fully melted. Okay, that looks good. That only took a minute or so. Now we'll just throw these guys in. I may have been a bit ambitious here. 100 is going to take the entire jar of petroleum jelly and more volume in the pot than I think I have. So I think we'll cut this down to a batch of 50. I also bought a set of tongs to sacrifice here. Again, dollar store, because I don't want to clean these. They can live outside and get used for any nasty jobs that come up. Well, there's no doubt that these are highly absorbent. I don't think I have enough petroleum jelly in there. Definitely do not. Well, they've all got a bit of a coating. Break them up a little further and see how the ones on the inner parts of stacks are doing. Okay, maybe that was just the right amount. Well, if you ever need to clean a sacrificial pot or a pan, makeup pads do a pretty good job of getting the bulk of it with a little bit of heat. Wow. I'm surprised at how much those soaked up. Okay. So the other instructions I saw appear to be the correct way to go. Live and learn. So we'll dump these out on our baking sheet and start with our paraffin wax melt. This time we will dip them one by one, I think. So we'll put in 2 blocks, which is half a pound of the Gulf Wax brand. As I've said in past videos, if you want to speed it up, just add a lid. I'll pause this for a moment until we are ready to go. Okay, since our wax is now melted, again, I'm going to turn off the heat. And since I've already failed to follow instructions, we're going to compound the error and toss these in as well. We'll see what we get. Now that they've soaked up all that Vaseline, I doubt if they're nearly as absorbent. This is around 50. We'll take our tongs. Actually, this seems to be working pretty well. If I had simply used more petroleum wax to start with, the all-at-once method, I think, would have been just fine. So this did not use up all of that half a pound of wax. But that's okay, we'll just leave it in the pan for next time. Okay, as you can see, we've got a really nice coating on all of these. So I'll pull them out and put them on parchment paper on a baking tray, and we'll let them cool and then we'll demonstrate them. Okay, so this is what we ended up with. 2 layers of parchment paper with horror cookies looking at us, begging not to be eaten. This made about 40. So our yield for 40 fire starters cost us half a large jar of petroleum jelly and half a pound of paraffin wax. So there's quite a bit of accelerant and fuel in these rounds soaked in. That's how much wax we had left over from the process of just simply dunking and pulling them in the laziest fashion possible. So once these dry and harden, we'll come back and we'll try one out and see what we think. Okay, so this is the finished product. I like that it doesn't feel overly greasy to my fingers. So I do feel like that's going to store pretty well in a Ziploc and a pack. I wonder how they'll deal with high heat in the summer, if they'll become gooey like a candle. Okay, so supposedly all you need to do is tear it open a little bit and expose some fibers, and then light it. Let's see how it works. Well, it certainly lit very easily. Let's count our time. Well, my first impressions are just based on the nature of the fuels used. I'm not liking all that black sooty smoke, so these probably wouldn't get used for anything indoors, just outdoors campfires and emergency fire starter kit. See how the smell is. Nothing too noxious there. I believe that is mostly just smoke and a few hydrocarbons. Certainly burns with a large flame. I like that. We're at the 1 minute mark now. Even if these burn substantially faster than the cedar wood type that I showed in the last video, there's quite a bit to be said for how many you could pack in the same space. A pack of 20 of these is going to take up the same volume of 2 of my other fire starters. So is the pleasant smell worth the extra pack volume lost? Not weight, but volume. Probably not. So I may switch to these for camping and outdoors. And we're at 2 minutes now. That is quite the flame. Coming up on 3 minutes. Other nice aspect of these compared to the ones that I have been making is that they are subdividable. You can always just rip off a small portion of one. and use it for a small, short-lived flame. Okay, it looks like we're probably going to be out by about the 4-minute mark. We're at 3 minutes and 40. Okay, close to 4 minutes. Completely acceptable. The smoke did not get worse as it burned, and they were very, very quick to make. So I think these will be my new go-to for outdoors activities, and leave the cedar wood Dixie cups for inside wood stove use. All right, thank you very much for joining me today on this little learning adventure, and I'll see you next time. Have a great week.